Hello, SuperMarioT here, and I've been meaning to do this one for a long time. Sorry for the still image, excuse it for this one, I'm sorry. It saves time. I have no idea how copyright works when it comes to anime on YouTube, and trust me, this will help me get the video out a lot quicker. Let's talk anime. There's so much great anime out there, but so little time. Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, Dragon Ball, Space Dandy, Cowboy Bebop, Little Witch Academia, My Hero Academia, One Punch Man. I could sit down and watch so much of it. Unfortunately, some are incredibly long. There is one anime in particular that I've grown super fond of since I started watching it when I started my sophomore year of high school. One Piece. Now, One Piece is a lot of things. It's funny, it's emotional, it's weird, it's long, really long. After I just said it's hard to watch really long anime. The anime itself is 800 plus episodes, and this is only the 60% or so mark for anime watchers and 65% for manga readers, so we still have a long way to go until it ends, but I'll happily stick along the ride up until that point. Probably when I'm 25. But SuperMarioT, ain't nobody got time to watch One Piece. You say that, but it's not as hard and impossible as you think. When I started watching One Piece 4 years ago, I started out being a sophomore in high school. And from the start of the first semester to the beginning of the second, there was only 625 or so episodes, and I caught up within 6 months. You can make time to watch One Piece if you really want to. It's definitely possible. If I want to waste my life watching this better be a good enough anime. Well, that's why you clicked on the video. I will explain why this anime is so loved and adored by many people today, why it continues to be so goddamn long, how it's become one of the most popular anime worldwide, and the most popular manga worldwide. So without further delay, grab a snack, get comfy, because this is going to take a while. Let me explain just how fantastic and worthwhile beyond belief of an anime One Piece is, and why you need to watch One Piece as soon as possible. Throughout this whole thing, I'm going to try my damnedest to not spoil anything major. I'll start you guys off with the story. One Piece's world revolves around pirates. There was a king among these pirates, Gold Roger, and was well known throughout the world. He was about to get executed by the Navy, which is the world government's military sea force, tasked with law enforcement, international security, and military operations. The duty of the Marines is to maintain law and order throughout the world and impose the will and might of the world government, and they constantly subdue pirates for standing against them. And before the king of the pirates' death, his final words ushered a challenge to pirates across the globe. If you pirates want to hold my treasure, take it. I left it all in one place, and now you must find it. The treasure Roger speaks of, it's what's known as the legendary One Piece. However, nobody really knows what the One Piece truly is. Pirates everywhere accepted this challenge and ushered a brand new time, which is known as the Great Pirate Era. Also, within the world of One Piece, the devil has unleashed these sacred fruits around the globe for mortals to consume. Devil fruits. There are thousands of different kinds of devil fruits, and you can guess what kinds there are, honestly. You can eat these and use fire, ice, poison, transform into mythical beings and animals, shoot weapons from your hands, make more hands out of thin air, you name it. There are 3 types of these devil fruits despite the various kinds: Paramecia, Zoan, and Logia. Paramecia devil fruits hold powers that affect and potentially enhance your body, affect the environment, or produce substances. These basically grant powers that are what's known as superhuman. Zoan devil fruits give the user the ability to transform into other species and interspecies hybrid forms at will, basically some form of an animal. Logia devil fruits grant the user the ability to turn into a natural element or force of nature, aka fire, ice, earth, water, light, lightning, etc. Logia devil fruits are considered the most powerful as well as the rarest of the 3 devil fruit types overall. But what all these fruits share in common is the user loses their ability to swim and is weakened and fatigued from seawater, giving devil fruit pirates an extra hurdle. A certain Paramecia fruit is eaten by our main protagonist, Monkey D. Luffy, which turned his body into rubber after eating the Gum Gum fruit. He is now a rubber man who could take plenty of physical blows and stretch his body to incredible lengths with his malleable exterior. Monkey D. Luffy has held a dream since he was a boy, and it was to be the next king of the pirates. If one must become the king, thou must seek the One Piece. So Luffy set out to sea in search of a crew and achieve his dream. Now, what makes this story so compelling are several things. One, at least at the time when it was picking up, this is something you've never heard of anywhere else. One Piece's story takes on something so unique and inspirational that you can't help but wonder how parallel their world is compared to ours. And that is literally one of the best things about the series. It's art imitating real life. with how the world came to be about pirates, how corrupt the government can be, how certain communities strive to be accepted and not ostracized, how many pirates strive for freedom and dreams, how adventurous and lively this anime can be, how emotional it can be, how smart it can be, and so much more. You'd be pretty captivated to see how strong this story can be with the loads of plot elements and sheer incredible consistency the show holds. The consistency and structure in One Piece is damn near impressive and probably one of the best attributes of this anime and series. The backstories of the characters are great, how the characters go through their times and turn out to be the charming people we know now, how funny this anime can be when it is, how smart and admirable some of its stories, motives, its messages can be. You would hear and see a lot of things many other anime, movies, and shows rarely talk about or get across like One Piece does. And as you go along, the story gets more and more complex with each plot device, element, and detail linking together with marvelous stature. But even so, it's not as stressful or difficult to think about because the story itself as it goes along feels natural and comfortable to ease into and understand. It's cohesive, understandable, consistent, and logical even if it feels otherwise. And these are what makes the structure and story so compelling. When Eiichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, came up with its story, he didn't intend for it to be so long, but he was able to come up with more and more ideas as it progressed, able to flesh out the story, characters, improve the writing, and expand itself very well into an adventure series. It sets itself up to be so long, and as the main characters traverse across the whole world to achieve a specific goal, each island lends itself to its own complete story, one that most common anime could finish its series on just one island. People see how long One Piece is and is turned off by it, even though it is possible to make time for it, but because it's so long, in a way it ultimately works in its favor in terms of structure and storytelling. Some of the later, larger arcs will feel incredibly significant as some side stories and subplots link to each other and feel more important later on. As far as One Piece has gotten, there hasn't been many, if a single or two details out of place, from what I could see at the very least, and plenty of details and elements about the story and characters and organizations and such hold a lot of sense and logic towards them. One Piece is such an intelligent anime to convey this corrupted world as we know and live on. Poverty, death, friendship, racism, betrayal, imagination, corruption, ignorance, the sheer disappointing and greedy nature of humans among us, the dreams and ambitions that youths would likely hold and adults wish they could still hold and achieve, and to be able to maintain so spectacularly consistent, clever, and coy with even the littlest details you can normally ignore among the plot and the characters, as well as the most fleshed out, amazing, and endearing characters and settings. Every little thing you'll hear and see in this anime, you'll want to keep a mental note of. Trust me. Even the littlest characters that seem insignificant, the most random details and things that occur never feel out of place or random, nor do they hinder the story or experience in any way. When and what they bring back in the future is astonishing. You'd be amazed at how many theories this anime has and what kinds hold so much validity that I have to avoid them to not be potentially spoiled or ruined in some way. It's that crazy. With how adamant and loyal the fans are, and how adamant, firm, and endearing Eiichiro Oda is to his creation, you're looking at a phenomenal wonder. One Piece's structure and story is unlike any other piece of entertainment, IMO, and that I feel is why One Piece works so damn well as it is so strong. Now, I went on about the story for a while there, and would you believe that's only one of the reasons this anime does such a fantastic job? If there's more to love about One Piece, it's its humongous cast of memorable, enjoyable, incredible characters. So many of them feel so distinct, unique, original. None of them feel out of place, annoying, a sideshow, or anything demeaning. With a long-ass anime, a lot of characters are bound to come up, but what makes this anime shine so much apart from its secretly complicated plot is how charming, distinct, and lovable its cast of characters are. To our main character Luffy, to his crew, the Straw Hat Pirates, to allies, to enemies, and side characters, and even filler characters. Even the filler. The filler is astonishingly good. The filler itself isn't even long, nor does it overstay its welcome. There's few and far in between. With how many characters there are, you'd think there'd be several forgettable ones, but that's rarely ever the case. It's how diverse and unforgettable the characters are among personalities, charm, traits, actions, appearances, and even race, all the way from the first arc to the current arc. I'll go over some of the Straw Hats to save time and spoilers. Luffy lacks common sense and is pure of heart. He's a stupid meat-loving pirate who just does whatever he wants for fun. His intentions and interests are light and pure at heart, while he will save and do for anyone he considers an ally and or friend. While he denies being a hero, he does some things for the greater good, despite being an enemy of the world government and being seen as garbage in commoners' eyes for being a pirate. While you look at the way he acts, and he's certainly no low-life pirate. He believes that being a pirate, especially being the king of pirates, means being free, going for your dreams, and enjoying life how you want it to, while treating people fairly. Luffy may be a dumbass, but he's one hell of an adventurous pirate who's got the heart and soul of a saint and the charisma of the most beloved and respected person ever, even among enemies. His right-hand man Zoro, originally renowned as a pirate hunter, strives to be the greatest swordsman in the world and an essential ally in Luffy's crew. He's smart in some areas, but he couldn't tell left from right even if walking signs smacked him in the face 90 times. Zoro's lack of sense of direction is laughable beyond compare, and his love for booze and sword fighting is renowned among the One Piece community. The Straw Hat navigator Nami is a skilled navigator depicting weather before it occurs, guiding the Straw Hats across the sea, while her goal is to draw a map of the entire world as she travels with Luffy. She's got a few weapons up her sleeve too, so she's no damsel in distress. She's the beautiful, money-obsessed Nami Swan of the Straw Hats. Hide your wallets when you see her. The Straw Hats sniper Usopp is a long-nosed coward who claims to have 8,000 men under his crew, yet he's a one-man team who would rather not get involved in any major fight and keep his long nose from getting broken. His marksman skills are beyond exemplary. He can shoot off the horizon and his target would still be sniped. If times are desperate, Usopp is no stranger to protecting those he loves either. When it comes down to it, Usopp will try his damnedest to grow a backbone and fight for what he thinks is right, and as he travels with the Straw Hats, he's already striving for his dream, to become and die a brave warrior at sea. The cook of the Straw Hats, Sanji, a blonde girl-loving gifted chef who can cook amazing dishes. He'd rather eat all of someone's cooked food than waste it, whether it tastes good or bad. He'd do anything for the prettiest girl he'd find. He'd rather not sully his hands he uses to cook, and would use his signature legs and feet for combat, and he would rather die than so much as kick a woman. This chivalrous, perverted cook is another staple in the Straw Hats, who strives to discover a mythical sea. There are 4 seas in the world of One Piece: the North Blue, the South Blue, East Blue, and West Blue, and legend says there's another sea that connects all 4 seas together but no one has found, and it's known as the All Blue. Sanji's dream is to discover this lost sea and marvel all the fish and creatures that live in it so he could cook up some magnificent meals. There are more Straw Hats, but this is the general gang and I do not want to spoil you at all because it's so good. The other characters' backstories and personalities touched me even more. Now, do you know one thing the Straw Hats all have in common with one another other than the distinct personalities? They all have a specific goal. They all have certain dreams, and each character gets build-up and devotion to them, their personality, their backstory, and their dream. It all makes sense as to why they become the characters we know and love, and why they want to go for their specific goals. It gives that sense of significance and importance that these aren't just side characters or simple companions. No, these are all characters that will be fleshed out, will feel fleshed out, have certain goals, will actually mean something in several ways to the story, and will be complete. Those were just the Straw Hats I touched on too. I didn't even talk about the allies, the enemies, the side characters, etc., which are given more character as they reappear and show how the main cast impacted them. If I did, this video would be trying to be as long as the anime, but that just goes to show how much heart, care, and love is being given to these characters. The great writing I mentioned before is shown into each character's backstory and personality, and because of that, their goals and setups are easy to buy into and believe, which in turn improves the writing and structure of each arc. And when they do meet up and face these challenges as adults due to their struggles, it feels earned and fulfilling for them to achieve these wins and stepping stones for when they encounter an obstacle, and how they move, interact, and show themselves within the world of One Piece in these funny, inventive, badass, and interesting setups, whether for comedic relief or storytelling, is what makes them so attractive and impressive to look at, especially when they learn new moves or techniques and as they expand and strengthen their character. These actions and events that occur involving our cast impact the world around them in more ways than one, making them feel realized and involved. You feel invested and interactive as if you're in the world of One Piece yourself. Now that I got through these, here's something to note. The episodes and transitions in the first several arcs of One Piece are great, but you'll often hear when Luffy and his crew reach the Grand Line. That's when shit picks up, and that's true. The transitions and arcs will definitely feel more fleshed out and earned once you get up to that point. I feel the starting point of said pickup is around the first 30 episodes into Arlong Park. That's technically a prologue to the Grand Line, but I don't want to get too crazy with spoilers. And off topic really quick, but here's another thing that ultimately goes up to personal preference and is also less significant to this whole discussion, but I'm confident enough to say, the sub is great, and the dub is also fantastic. Of course, the sub is generally fans of One Piece's go-to, but the Funimation dub is really good. The problem the sub-lovers have that completely disregard the dub is even for a few characters, they always compare the Japanese sounding of their voice to the English, and it always has to sound just like the Japanese version, or the lip movements, or certain words of dialogue can be changed for something else. And not any of those is always the case. When it comes to dubbing, there are two things to consider. The choice of the voice actor / actress and the execution of that voice, whether it fits the character's persona, outlook and such or not, in the same or different style, not to mention they have to fit the lines and voices along the characters flapping their mouths to make it more understandable and sensible. There's this one channel that went into the topic of official dubs doing lip flaps and producing dubs and such. Cartoon Cypher is the name of this channel, and I'll link that video in the description. And I highly encourage you to watch that if you have certain thoughts on the sub and dub debate. It's a really good video. Back to One Piece, the English dub for the most part has great choices of actors and actresses, and the execution of the voices, especially in the later arcs, in my opinion, again, are practically perfect. The accents too are pretty exemplary, especially compared to the Japanese version. Not for kids, mind you, I'm talking about Funimation. Colin Clinkenbeard as Luffy, especially later on, is really, really good. The Straw Hats themselves are great, a lot of enemies are great in English, I could go on. There is emotion and effort put into these characters' voices. The Japanese dub can provide a more original portrayal of the anime and is naturally longer than the dub. The English dub, however, can save English speakers the trouble of reading subtitles and watch the anime with a much more natural flow, and is generally being presented with great voice casts. I love both versions either way. I'm a sub and dub guy. I catch up through the Japanese version, and I'm completely fine with rewatching One Piece in English. See? I even have time to rewatch One Piece too. You could go either way, it's all up to silly opinions like mine. But give the dub a watch too. Either one is sufficient, and I don't care what others say about the dub being crap, because One Piece's Funimation dub is really freaking good. Now back to the main topic. If there's one thing about One Piece that has the power and drive stronger than most anime out there, other than the structure and story which actually supports this, it's its atmosphere and tone. No matter what moment it is, whether something big is going down, whether something funny is going on, you will become enthralled into it all. When One Piece gets funny, it's legitimately funny and often creative and unique. Some points will feel slightly tedious, however that's rarely the case for some people. One Piece will feel lighthearted when it needs to, and you'll want to join these characters. When One Piece gets serious, it feels super serious. Every serious fight becomes a joke, and every joke fight becomes serious. The battles, the wars, the conflicts between these characters and themselves will feel intense and incredible. Each one is entertaining and intriguing as the story progresses. Those moments will implement intensity, logic, admiration, respect, happiness, sadness, a lot of these emotions and thoughts going through your head as you progress, and they're certainly moving no matter what. But when One Piece gets sad, oh lord, it gets depressing. A lot of the characters' backstories will feel emotional. The deaths, conflicts, and feelings emitted from these people in stories, whether in the past, present, or future, will feel so real, so alive and harsh, you'll actually cry for some of them. These people will experience defeat or loss in one way or another, whether in a backstory or a future arc. Thanks to this, these people don't feel nor are overpowered and will not win all the time. There is more of a balance in there, making the anime itself feel more interesting, unexpected, and realistic for all it can look imaginary and sometimes formulaic. You'll feel the loss, the sadness of that character, an event, and it's certainly a heavy weight to bear. You'll struggle trying not to shed a tear. Out of any piece of media out there, movies, games, anime, etc., not a single one of them has made me cry. Naruto, surprisingly no. Inside Out, close, but no. Not a single piece of entertainment. Except for One Piece. twice, almost 3 times I cried for this anime. One time over this one backstory in the English dub, another time over a certain death in the Japanese sub because I was catching up, and almost again after recently rewatching a sad part that I didn't even originally cry for in the Japanese version in English. I knew what was coming, but I almost released feels anyways. That goes to show how powerful the English dub is, but more importantly how powerful and strong One Piece is as an anime. This show will make you feel a lot of things, and it's beautiful, man. I wish I could go on and on, but A, spoilers, and B, I pretty much explained it all. There is no perfect series out there, and everyone has certain tastes and opinions to respect. However, if there was such a thing as a perfect or near perfect anime, One Piece would feel and become the closest. In my eyes, I feel it is. I cannot stress enough how amazing the structure and storytelling of One Piece is, how lovable and genuine the characters are, how real and depressing the backstories can be, how funny it can get, how emotionally gut-wrenching it can get, how amazingly badass it can get, how insanely hyping it can get. Dude, girl, whatever, go watch it if you haven't. Seriously, the time spent on One Piece will be long, but it will not feel wasted whatsoever. I'm cracking my knuckles. This is essentially the anime Game of Thrones in terms of popularity and length. My respect and love for One Piece and Eiichiro Oda grows as it passes, and I'm very grateful and happy to have found such an amazing piece of art. Sometimes, I wish I could forget all of One Piece just to rewatch it all over again and experience it. It's that amazing. I'll be looking forward to future arcs and will happily continue watching as I become an adult. But first, I gotta get through college first. It's never too late to start One Piece, no matter how much time you have. It's never too late to start, and it's never impossible to finish. I was able to get most of my friends into, or at the very least interested in One Piece. I usher you to do the same. You will not regret making that decision. And as I thank One Piece for existing and Oda for such a creative mind, I thank you all for watching and thank you all for 10,000 subs. I am really grateful for you guys sticking with me and watching my videos. I'm truly happy to be doing YouTube and making videos for you guys because it shows I'm actually providing worth for others, and if I make my viewers and subscribers happy, I'm happy. And I could actually make a living off of this, and my naive mind thought about this in junior and senior year of high school. Stay super, and greetings to my new subscribers. Be sure to stick around for my videos related to One Piece, Mario, Paper Mario, Pokemon, Sonic, other anime, Nintendo, games, even movies and such. Until next time, stay super, and please do yourself a favor and start watching One Piece.